Wow.
Uh-oh.
I think we're ready to start if you want to get going.
Okay, can you mute the background noise?
I am muting as we speak.
Okay. Okay, so today we're going to have some fun. In my first couple months of teaching a couple years ago, I was teaching people how to composite for artist category for print competition. And I was doing all these super one-day workshops and going to different states. And what I found is nobody actually wanted to sit and do the composite work in class. They just wanted to watch. And what kept coming up was, well, this is great and all, but how do I come up with an idea? Because if I don't have an idea, I can't even begin to composite a piece of art. So it was a light bulb moment, and I was like, okay, I need to take a step back. I realized that I was teaching from chapter 7, and I was like, let's go back to chapter 1 and say, how do we teach people to come up with an idea? And that's what we're going to be doing today. And it's an exercise that you can do with your friends and family, and don't tell them why, and you'll get some really great results. So once upon a time, so print competition, whether it's photographic open or artist category, we're telling a story. So we get to be these amazing storytellers and artists, aside from our daily routine of shooting whatever type of genres we shoot. A little bit about me, most of you probably know who I am, but I actually have been a photographer since 1989. I used to be a member many decades ago of ASMP, which was American Society of Magazine Photographers, because I did commercial work. When I came back into photography, I now had to learn digital versus shooting film. In my film days, I shot with 4x5 and 8x10 transparency cameras. And an 8x10 transparency camera, I would be on a 15-foot ladder. So switching over to digital was like completely different genre completely. Now, luckily for me, I got into Photoshop in the first year that Photoshop was out. So I had that skill there from the beginning. So we want to talk about, why would you want to enter the artist category at IPC? Because a lot of times when I ask people, hey, are you in the artist category? The reaction is almost like utter fear. And it's like, oh gosh, no, I can't enter the artist category. And I'm like, but why? I mean, nobody knows it's your image unless you tell them. I mean, honestly, let's be real. You can sit and watch IPC in your underwear if you wanted to. Nobody's going to see you. You can, binge on your favorite crunchy snack while you're watching IPC. But let's be, a little serious. So the artist category, above and beyond anything else, will create some skill honing. It'll allow you to practice and perfect your editing, creative, and even competitive skill set. And when I say competitive skill set, I don't mean for competition. I mean in the industry. It's going to make you more confident. And that's bullet point number 2. So your confidence is going to go up when you start getting the rewards of having a merit-worthy image. The praise and honor that it gives you is a huge boost, and it's noticeable in your everyday shots. So as you work to get those amazing scores at IPC, you're going to notice a difference in your day-to-day work. You're not going to go back to the old way of editing, because now you'll have this new set of skills. And then elevation. So compositing is what can set you apart from the local competition. I have never met a shoot and burn photographer who knows how to composite. They just will not invest the time. They think that you can't make money doing that. Right now, I have 2 clients that hired me to do fairy tale composites of their pets. So yes, you can make money off that. So fear. Here is the true definition of fear. And this is the main reason that people don't enter the artist category. An unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. So yes, there are moments when I could say that I'm a little fearful of the judges, but again, you're sitting comfortably in your own home, especially this year, and don't tell anybody you entered if you're a little nervous, and that way if your images don't do well, you don't even have to admit that they were yours. However, if you do really well, you're going to want to tell everybody. So a couple of years ago, PPA redid the 12 elements, and I think this is brilliant because we are visual people, and in understanding what's going to make that amazing image for print competition, by looking at it this way, it now to me made much more sense than a list numbered 1 through 12. So right in the middle is impact. So impact is when that image comes around and sometimes you hear a judge go, oh, or you'll hear something and you'll be like, oh yeah, they really like this one. Or it'll be really quiet for a really long time. And especially in the artist category, sometimes you're sitting there for what feels like a lifetime waiting for the scores to pop up. And it seems like the longer you have to wait, the better the image is going to be because they're spending a lot of time enjoying the image. Composition, technical excellence, storytelling, and creativity, they kind of span out from that bullet in the center. And then center of interest, color, presentation, lighting techniques, style, and subject matter are on the fringes. Now, the 13th element, in my opinion, is the title. And your title is what's going to lead them to the story you're telling. It's the only piece of information that you can verbally give them as a title to say, hey, this is what I'm trying to say. And you know, when you're working on images for the artist category, it can be found anywhere and does not require expensive travel. You don't have to spend 100 hours of editing. However, you can choose to do that if you'd like to. So right off the bat, people think that the artist category sometimes means that you have to do a composite image that has, you know, lots and lots of elements, lots and lots of little guide images across the bottom, and it really doesn't. One of my earlier artist entries started with this, and it was camera left was Stella, the mother giraffe, and her little giraffe Abby, and camera right was Abby's face coming across Stella's nose. And I decided to Photoshop these together and create an entry for the artist category. So we had a couple guide images. This was the final piece of art. And when I entered it into IPC, I had these guide images. So an artist entry doesn't necessarily have to be something so complex that you don't think you're ready to handle it. You could start with something as simple as slight compositing, some painting, changing a background, redirecting of the light, and showing some skills in Photoshop to allow you to have this amazing entry in the artist category. So now let's move on to the more tricky images. So this was an image that I entered a couple years ago. When I was coming up with the story, I knew that I wanted to have my dog on a carousel horse, but I didn't know why. Like, I didn't have the backstory in my head. So all I knew is I wanted him on the carousel horse. I knew there needed to be a carousel in the background. And then I was kind of stuck. And this can happen where you have a partial idea and you're trying to come up with filling the blanks or filling the holes in the puzzle. So a lot of times what I'll do when I'm stuck for the rest of the story, I'll take what I have, which was I had a dog on a carousel horse, or you could say I had a runaway carousel horse, and I'll Google those types of terms. And so I started Googling, and I found that there was this French novel called The Runaway Carousel Horse, and I was like, oh, that's really funny, like that there's actually a book about this. And it didn't really help my efforts, but I thought it was interesting that somebody else had already thought of this idea, and I was curious about that. So then I did some more research, and then I found that there were several variations of this runaway carousel horse concept. Well, I was still stuck. So I basically had my dog photographed, you know, to sit on this carousel horse. And I knew I had my carousel and that was it. So I started, I think what I Googled was something like riding carousel horses or carousel horses in the park, something like that. And this image popped up. And I was like, oh, Mary Poppins, I forgot about this scene. And I'm like, okay, this inspires me. So, you know, your creative inspiration can be found anywhere. And so once I saw this, I had kind of the holes filled in my puzzle, and I was able to kind of complete my story, which ended up being called Rescued by Moonlight. Now, at an earlier competition, which was districts, I had titled it, Who Rescued Who? Meaning, did the horse rescue the dog or did the dog rescue the horse? And the judges kept talking about the fact that there wouldn't be any light on the dog's face. And so I was trying to come up with a way to get light on the dog's face from something in the image. I tried adding a couple different elements and nothing was working. So I lowered the moon a little bit, named it Rescued by Moonlight, so that the attention to the judges was now placed on the fact that this is being lit by the moon. And at the judging at IPC, a judge said, I don't care if the moon is reflecting off the ear of the horse into the dog's face. I love this image. And he basically sold the story to the other judges who were saying there's no light source for the dog's face. When I darkened the dog's face, it just didn't have the same impact to me because it took away his cute little expression. So how do you come up with an idea? Well, this is everybody's like sticking point, and there'll be times when I'm creatively blocked as well. But sometimes I'll be at a zoo, and those of you that know me know I spend a lot of time at zoos. Sometimes I'll be at a zoo and I'll see something. So I was in Pittsburgh, and camera left, I saw this giraffe rubbing her neck on the other giraffe, and I thought, oh, that's really sweet. I really love that. And I just stood there for a minute waiting for the male giraffe to turn his head. And he turned his head, and camera right, I got the head that I needed for the male giraffe. So now I had this really great image of these two giraffes, and I was trying to now come up with a story as to why are these two giraffes being so endearing, and what are they witnessing, or what are they viewing, or what are they doing? So it kind of popped into my mind kind of without really trying. One day, this whole story came into my mind, and I started downloading the sample images from different stock houses, because you can download the little sample images for free before you purchase the images. And so I started downloading all these images, and I mocked it up to see if this was going to work. I photographed the giraffes, all three of them, even the baby. The train station is somewhere in Europe. The caboose was an image I found. I still needed some more information in the background, but I had plenty of things in my own images that I could work from. The train station is flipped, so that's why the text is going backwards, and that meant that I would be changing the clock and making some alterations to some other things in the image. The baby giraffe obviously isn't standing on anything, and I realized that I needed to put the giraffe into the caboose because there's not enough of a platform there, obviously, for a giraffe to stand on. So many, 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 many hours later, I ended up with this. And this image was designed and created based on the fact that male giraffes have to leave home and be separated from their fathers, or they will literally try to kill each other for superiority. And so there was a giraffe that you may be familiar with, Tajiri, who was born to April the giraffe, and it was all over the internet. He was going to be relocated, and I wanted to tell the story of him leaving to head to his new home. And so I titled this, We Will Miss You. when I showed this at different states that I was speaking at, women cried when they saw this image. It went directly to IPC, and it did score 92, and it did go lone. However, I had no female judges on my panel. And I kind of wonder to this day if it would have scored a tiny bit higher if I had a mom on my panel. But you'll see at the bottom all my guide images, and I like the guide images to be very uniform and lined up. I feel that the guide images should be the same height across, the same spacing across, which Photoshop automatically does for you now, which is really nice. And, you know, I added time of day, you know, sunset, like riding off into the sunset. So I changed the time on the clock to indicate time of day, you know, 5 or 6 at night, meaning the train takes off at 6. Here we go. They're saying goodbye, and off he goes into the sunset. The next one I wanted to just talk about is this one. And this one began as an epic fail. I had the little boy in a hot air balloon. He was reaching out of the hot air balloon to feed some giraffes carrots, and I ran it through a competition, and the judges were fixated on the fact that the hot air balloon didn't have any flames. If you've ever gone up in a hot air balloon, which I have, the flames are not on constantly. And I personally felt the flames would be distracting, and I also felt that they would give a female mother type judge the feeling of danger for this little boy in the balloon. So I chose to create this image without the flames, but they seemed to fixate on that, and I ended up completely bagging the whole concept and coming up with something new. So I photographed this little boy in my studio with my dog after everything else was in place. And this was a big learning experience for me to know that you could set everything up, get everything done, and now you could quickly place a subject into your story at the end. And what that meant was, if somebody came to me and said, I'd love to put my kids in that boat with our dog, I could easily do that and sell them an amazing piece of artwork. The hardest part of this image was the ripples in the water. I did that in Photoshop with mapping, and then creating the reflection of the boat, since it wasn't on the horizon line, it was at an angle. Creating that reflection was really difficult. But this image here, here's the guide images. The dog was actually shot separately from the little boy. He would not pose with the dog. He was all excited to get his photo taken with my little dog, but he lives with a 130-pound dog, and so when I brought little Louie down, he thought Louie was a skunk, and so he wouldn't pose with Louie. Now, you'll see that the boat wasn't even in the water when I got the stock image. So don't think too literally when you're looking for stuff. Just look for proper angle, complementary colors, something that is at, you know, the angle that if you were to now, like I did, I shot the little boy on the bench in the studio, it's now at the right angle to place into that boat. I added a chimney to the little hut. There's Louie. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the boy, I had to actually Frankenstein a different head onto his shoulders so that his eye contact was directly even with the giraffe. He was actually in the original shot looking past the giraffe. And then the shot of the giraffe I shot at Animal Adventure Park, and then the original swampy little pond scene that I found, you can see is very blown out and kind of golden. So I wanted to also mention that an entire artist entry can be images you did not shoot. This is really important, especially right now. You know, you can't really go anywhere. I mean, we were joking about it earlier. Like, I'm not allowed to go to Massachusetts. I have to quarantine, and somebody said they're in Connecticut. They're not allowed to go anywhere. You know, we really can't go anywhere. So you could go on a stock site and you could download images and create a piece of artwork completely from scratch. And I did that a couple years ago, and this image here was all stock images. The dress on the girl originally was white. She was on a horse. Her hair was much shorter. The castle had satellite dishes and all kinds of cars parked around it. You know, and the peacock, what was interesting about this came about because somebody posted on Facebook that they didn't know peacocks could fly, and this whole conversation emerged about the fact that peacocks do fly. And I was like, oh, I have an idea for a print competition image just from seeing that post on Facebook. So, or you can shoot part of the composite. This is what I primarily do now. I like to shoot my main subject and then work the story from there. So I shot my Jack for Jack and the Beanstalk outside on a ladder. I did purchase his entire outfit on eBay. I knew exactly what I wanted him to wear, and it was just easier to buy it myself. The bag that he's wearing over his shoulder was mine. It's actually a leather satchel I purchased from the Spiegel catalog in 1989 for those ladies out there that know what Spiegel is. I still have that bag, and it is still in stellar condition. That was the best investment I ever made. The final image was this one. And the big mistake that I made here was when I shot Jack, I wasn't really thinking about where the giant was going to be in the image. I hadn't planned accordingly. And so when I realized how kind of calm Jack looked, I'm like, great, now I need to have a calm troll. So I was looking through stock and I found this troll that's just kind of looking kind of like inquisitive. And I thought, you know, this might actually work, but the title is going to have to really pull it all together and explain why he's not afraid and the giant's not ready to eat him. So I love play on words, and so I came up with the title of A Giant Problem. And this did really well. This went lone. Again, you'll see my stock images at the bottom. The first one, which is a shot that I took out of an airplane, I shot that coming into Chicago. They have the most amazing clouds when you enter O'Hare. And so I shot a whole bunch of images flying into Chicago. Then the castle and the rocks were stock. The bean pole, whatever you call it, that was also a stock image. I actually found that on a stock site out of Europe. Couldn't find one here. And then I shot Jack, and then the giant was also a stock image, and then I shot the sunset. I have tons of sunset images, and that is something you can do from your backyard, you know, or if you can get to a big open field and shoot a bunch of sunrises and sunsets and cloud images, you'll have them for this kind of work. So coming up with ideas for your artist entries, now for some fun. And you don't have to, well, actually, it would be kind of fun if we do this interactively. Ella, is that possible? Are you there, Ella?
Yes, I'm there. I was muted along with everyone else.
Okay. So if you guys want to play, I think this would be really fun to see how this works. This is the list. And so you can write these down and keep them for the future. So on a piece of paper, you're going to write your favorite for the following. And don't think too hard about it. Just actually write them down. And what I'd like to do is at least have, you know, whoever's able to, I know some people are driving, but if we have people sitting at a desk that have a piece of paper and a pen, if you can just write these down quickly, we can kind of then go around the room and see what kind of answers people gave. So why don't we give you guys a couple minutes to do that, if that's okay, Ella?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
If we have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask those.
And I can't see the chat because I have this set up on a double screen.
Yep, that's okay. I'm watching the chat so I can forward those if somebody puts it in. So you just want one for each of these?
You can, if you have one or two, like if you can't decide, I mean, it's the way this works best is if you don't think about it. If you just literally write down the first thing that pops into your head. And this is something that you can then do with like your family. If you're on a Zoom call with some family members or friends from far away and you say, hey, really quick, can we play this game? It's for something I'm working on. It's almost better if you don't tell them what it's for. The more information people have, the harder it is to actually answer the questions from that subliminal first response. Once you know what this is for, it's actually harder to do. So reaching out to people that don't know what it's for will help you come up with some ideas. And then Ella, if you watch the little, the window, if people that are able to at least post, hey, I'm done, so that we know we have enough people to kind of do this interactively, we can go from there.
Okay. Yeah. Post a message in the chat when you're done. That would be awesome. Okay.
I'm going to grab a piece of paper to write the answers down.
Okay, there's a couple of us done.
Okay, keep going. We need at least 5. 5 is a good number.
Okay, Connie, you were asking on city or country. Choose one of these or actually give the name of the city or country. She wants to know.
It's up to your discretion. I mean, you literally, if reading that, something pops into your head like London, that's fine. Or the beach. I mean, it can be so loosey-goosey, it's not even funny. The main goal is to have this variety of answers that will pair together into a story.
Cool. Okay, you've got about a half dozen now.
Perfect. Okay, so let me continue.
Feel free to keep going with anyone else who wants to add in.
Yeah, I'm gonna, but no cheating, because I'm gonna show you the answers from a seminar I taught. Okay, so we did this a couple years ago in Ohio. And we had a class of about 20, maybe 25 people. And so it was a 2-day seminar. And so we went around the room and got the answers from everybody. And as a group, we picked our favorites. So these were the answers. So surprisingly enough, a bunch of photographers picked their favorite color as black. For time of year, fall. City or country was London. For animal, we had a lot of favorites, so we wrote them all down. We had guinea pig, dog, and owl. For a name, we had Emma. For a movie, we had Sherlock Holmes detective movies or mysteries. For time of day, we had night. And then for a song, we didn't have a song because I didn't have that in the category yet, but I added it later because I think it just adds another level of idea. For person or character, we had queen or detective. And then the word we came up with was ridiculousness, which is a TV show for kids. And it was explained to me at the seminar, and then I see it late at night when I'm flipping channels, and it cracks me up. Title of art, we came up with the ridiculousness of searching for owls. So as a group, we went out onto Deposit Photos, which is a great stock site. They run a special every now and again. You can have 100 downloads for $80. And they're good for 365 days, and I highly recommend it if you're thinking of giving this a try. So these are the images we picked. So there's our owl, there's our dog. The coffee cup just looked cool, so we grabbed it. There's our guinea pig. We have our queen. We picked Stonehenge as like relative to England. The pipe, a picture frame to put Stonehenge in, and then the detective's office. And on day 2 of my seminar, my students were all working on their version of this, and one of my students came up with this. And there it is. So Emma is the little guinea pig wearing the crown, and she's missing her little pet owl. The detective dog was pushing the book towards her and knocked his coffee on the floor. You can see the pipe. Stonehenge is framed on the wall, and there's light overhead, and there's like street lights coming in from the back door. Now, is there some problems with this? Yes, there's some shadow issues and directional light issues, but we came up with this in one day. And then the girl in my class painted this, and this is something that with a little bit of finessing could have become a print competition image. So when you take this list, and I've done this class probably a dozen or more times, every group of people comes up with almost what feels like a theme based on what's going on in their life or the world or something, or the time of year or the time of day, which is kind of funny. And we can go around now and kind of see what some of the answers are, and see if we have a story that we could potentially talk about. So I'm going to get out of this. Let me stop my share. And let's see what kind of fun answers we had.
Want me to unmute everyone?
Let's do them one at a time.
Okay.
And some people on here, I think, have done this class with me, so they're probably going to be a little swifter.
Connie, you want to say what your answers were? Connie Sanders?
Yes, I was unmuting me because I thought you unmuted everybody. So I didn't copy the word, I just wrote down the answers, okay?
Okay.
So purple, autumn, English countryside, dog, John, field of dreams, dusk, somewhere over the rainbow, Indiana Jones, and the word is excellent.
The movie was Field of Dreams?
Yes.
And then what was the answer after that?
Dusk.
Dusk.
Time of day, dusk. Do you want me to put it in the chat?
No, not necessary. And then the song was Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what were the last two?
Indiana Jones and excellent.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Let's see. How about Randy? Randy Van Dynen.
All right. The color was red. The season was fall. Country or city was Italy. Animal was rhino. For a name, Joan. A movie was Midway. Oh wait, was that right? Midway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the right one in the right order. For a time, Twilight. For a time. For a song, I'm Too Sexy. What was the last? I'm forgetting what the last one.
Person or character?
I can't remember her name, from Tomb Raider, and for a word, big.
Lara
Croft.
Lara Croft. There we go.
Big is the word?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think that came from me being a large mammal.
Okay.
Okay.
How about Tony? How about you?
All right. Color purple. Oh, sorry. He's on. So color purple, time of year fall, Country Scotland, animal unicorn, name Caitlin, movie Gone with the Wind, time of day dawn, song Amazing Grace, character princess, word charming.
Cool.
So do you guys see how some of these answers are so similar because we all think the same way? Like, I've done this class so many times and nobody has ever said noon because we don't shoot at noon.
Right, right.
But you could theoretically do an art piece that's at noon. But it's so funny. Everybody's either twilight, dusk, sunrise.
Yep. And
purple is the #1 most popular answer I always get. So who's next? Probably has purple.
how about Sandra? Sandra Miner.
I don't-
had to unmute. Thank you. So you jaded me already with what you just said, Judy.
Yeah,
So
purple.
I didn't pick purple. I picked blue.
Oh, yay.
The time of year is the fall. Country Iceland. Animal horse. Name Raven. Movie Ragnarok. Thor. Action movie. Time of day sunset. Song Shine Down, I'll Follow You. My person is Thor. I have a thing for Thor right now. My word is whatever. And title, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, cool. Do you want one more?
Yeah.
How about Sheila Gardner?
Okay, hi.
Hi, Sheila.
Hello there. Color blue. Time of year fall. Country Scotland, which is where I'm calling from right now.
Oh, awesome.
Animal dog. Name Oliver. Movie Shawshank Redemption. Time of day morning. Song Private Dancer. Person Queen.
What was the person?
Queen.
Queen.
Okay.
And the word, that was a tough one. I just put magic.
Ah, cool. Okay. Every single person picked fall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Because I think we all want to be there right now.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen too is I have had probably fall be the #1 answer, spring the second answer, summer the third answer, and winter hardly ever. Blue and purple, by far, hands down, the most popular colors. And if you noticed, a lot of my friend competition images had blue and purple in them. There's something very soothing and pleasing about those colors. And you guys all said basically Italy, Scotland, and England, which means we all want to get out of town. And we can't, although that lovely lady who's in Scotland, lucky her. I'd love to be there right now. And then name, we have John, Joan, Caitlin, Raven, and Oliver. Movies, I wrote down Field of Dreams, Midway, and Thor. Time of day, dusk, twilight, dawn, sunset, or morning. And then for songs, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I'm Too Sexy, Amazing Grace, and I think somebody said Gone with the Wind. Wind. And then person or character, Indiana Jones, Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, princess or queen. Word, excellent, big, charming, whatever, magic. So you can see a theme here. Okay, so the way that this would work is as a group, we would pick one from all of these. So what I'd like to do is, and I mean, Ella, we can either do this in the chat or we can do this, you know, where they talk, but if the choice is purple, red, or blue, vote for your favorite.
Yep, just put it in the chat.
See if we have a winner.
We have blue. Looks like it's going to be.
Purple's a close
It
contender.
is. It's really close. Purple is close. There's a
We'll
few
do-
reds.
Let's do blue. Red is a tough color. When I heard red, I'm like, ooh, that sounds hard to work with. That was my first reaction. For time of year, we have fall, so we don't even have to really discuss it. Nobody said summer, spring, or winter. For city or country, we have to choose between England, Italy, or Scotland.
And Iceland was in there
Oh,
too.
Iceland, thank you.
Yep. We had 2 for Scotland.
Is it looking like
Looks
Scotland?
like Scotland, yep.
Okay. For an animal, we have dog, rhino, unicorn, or horse.
Okay. Vote now.
Peacock. Who said peacock? Yogi. We didn't say Yogi. Oh, did you say peacock?
Yes.
Okay, so add peacock to your choices. Oh, it's funny. Looks like unicorn or horse is the winner. Which one?
I think unicorn's got it by a little bit, so.
Okay, I'm gonna just give Yogi his peacock here. And then for a name, we have John, Joan, Caitlin, Raven, or Oliver. Yeah. Yeah, see, everybody's going towards Raven. That's an awesome name. Like for a character, love it. And Oliver's a close second. For a movie, we have Field of Dreams, Midway, Thor. Did I miss any? Gone with the Wind. Lion King from Yogi.
Midway.
I never saw Midway. Oh, and Shawshank Redemption, that's right.
Yep.
What is Midway about?
War movie, World War II. And
Okay.
Ragnarok was another movie that was put
What was it?
Vikings, Ragnarok.
Okay. And it looks like we have a lot of Field of Dreams.
Yep.
Is that the winner?
Looks like it, yeah. Thor, Midway, Field of Dreams, actually. Okay, yep. Midway is coming in at the end. It's kind of a tie between Midway and Field of Dreams. Yeah, I think 3-3 on that, I think.
Let's just go with Field of Dreams for simplicity for today. I mean, this is just an exercise. So time of day, we have dusk, twilight, dawn, sunset, morning. So we have more people going towards the sunset hour than the morning hour. So basically vote for either sunrise or sunset. They're pretty much the same, but, or twilight. I really want twilight. Yeah, let's do sunset. There's not too many morning people on this call. Yeah. So sunset, twilight. Okay. And then for song, we have Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Gone with the Wind. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I have that wrong. I had Gone with the Wind for the movie. Song, we have Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I'm Too Sexy, Amazing Grace, and I'm probably missing one or two.
Shine Down.
What was it?
Shine Down. I don't know that song.
Okay.
Private Dancer.
Say that again.
Private Dancer?
Yeah.
Private
Okay.
Dancer. Yeah.
So we can vote on that one. We have a lot of I'm Too Sexies. So, you know, interestingly enough, the I'm Too Sexy song and the Private Dancer song could kind of go together. If you think about a character now portraying this silly person. I'll explain what I mean when we're finished the list. And then for person or character, we have Indiana Jones, Lara Croft. We have a princess or a queen. So basically, Lara Croft or Indiana Jones, a princess or a queen. What's your favorite of the four? Wow, they're pretty equal.
Are looks like Indiana Jones is pretty much tied with Princess, and yeah, they're really equal.
All right, then we can kind of do both. Nothing wrong with that. And then for word, we have excellent, big, charming, whatever, and magic. Ooh, got a lot of magics.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the way that you could then take this little exercise is we have for our favorite color the color blue. For the time of year, we have fall, which are complementary colors. I don't know if you guys realize you did that. So you think about fall leaves being yellow, and we have blue as our color. They're now complementary colors. For city or country, we chose Scotland. For animal, we have a unicorn, which plays right into the fact that Scotland is very much into folklore, fairy tales, and things like that. Is that correct, Sheila? Are you listening? You're muted.
Mute. Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah. That's it. That's fair enough.
Yeah, lots of fairy tales and folklore in your history, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. For our song, did we pick a song?
Oh, I don't know if we did.
Did I miss it?
Sexy.
Oh, that's right. I'm too sexy. Okay.
Yeah.
And then for person or character, we have Indiana Jones and a princess. He could be obviously rescuing the princess. And then for word, we have magic. So the way this would kind of play out is our unicorn, theoretically, our unicorn could be this very debonair, like, very like, hey, I'm too sexy little male unicorn. And the princess could be riding the unicorn, or she could be trying, like her unicorn is being stolen, okay? And then Indiana Jones is there, a character, you know, like a guy like Indiana Jones is there to help rescue her unicorn, but he's so wrapped up in the fact that he's so cute, he doesn't even realize he's being kidnapped. So for fall and blue, I would say we would do like a nighttime image which plays into the time of day anyway. So the blue would be the setting sun, but the fall could be the fall colors of the countryside. For Scotland, we could just use that for inspiration as far as having like little rambling stone walls, you know, like farmland area like Highland Scotland, or beautiful vistas with rolling hills and the mountains and the rivers. You could then the name Raven. So Raven could be the name of the princess. So it could either be like Princess Raven, or Raven could be the name of the unicorn. And the story could be completely about the unicorn. He's so vain that like maybe we could have a mirror, like he's looking in a mirror and he's not even realizing he's being kidnapped. You know, something really silly like this unicorn has no clue and everybody's freaking out because he's being kidnapped by these bad people. And then the magic part of it could be that Indiana Jones, the character playing Indiana Jones, which doesn't even have to be a human, it could be a dog, since everybody was like really excited about a dog as one of the animals. So the dog could be trying to lasso the bad guys. And it could be a magic lasso with little sparkly stars coming off the lasso, and he's trying to lasso the bad guys away from the unicorn, who's too busy looking in the mirror, and he's dancing like up on his hind hind legs, like, hey, and the princess is freaking out because nobody's paying attention. So you see how that works?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never would have come up with that. Like if somebody said to me, hey, come up with an idea. I have no ideas right now. It's Thursday, you know. So I know it sounds crazy, but you know, they can watch the recording on the website, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
So go back and kind of like think about this and kind of digest this. And, you know, if you don't have people that you can play this game with, what you can do is you can get sandwich bags, like brown sandwich bags or some sort of containers, and line up a bunch of containers. And if you want to label them colors, time of day, country, and just start randomly writing stuff down, throw them in the containers, and then blindly draw one from every container, lay them out, and see what comes to you. Now, I do recommend getting a little notebook, and when you come up with an idea for print competition, write at the top of the page, write the idea. Like, I had an idea one time, and I hate to say what it is because I didn't do it yet, but you know, I wrote it across the top, and then I started writing underneath, okay, I need this, 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 and this. And then that was all I wrote on the page. And then I came up with another idea, and I flipped the page, and I started a new page for the next idea. And so you can have this notebook to go back to, like, let's say next January, you're like, okay, I need some new entries for the artist competition. Let me see what's in my notebook. Don't recommend waiting till January, especially if you have time right now. But if you do wait till January, this is a great tool to then turn to and start coming up with some stories. Any questions?
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself so you can post questions in the chat area. It's really a cool technique for kind of getting your brain to work in this way. I like that idea a lot. Bruce Bonnet says he thinks about a dog with an Indiana Jones hat and a whip as one of his characters.
Yeah, I kind of picture this dog rescuer, this little dog trying to rescue this big, silly unicorn guy. Like, I keep picturing like My Little Pony, like this purple unicorn, and he's like looking in the mirror and he has no clue what's going on around him. Like, hey, I'm so good looking, and
Wow.
meanwhile he's being kidnapped.
So the links for the videos, the recordings of these Zoom meetings are not on the website yet. If you want to get them, just email me and I'll put it in the chat again, my email address, or you can always reach me through the ASP website. Oops, sorry, Jenny, I didn't mean to put it just to you. Let's see, there we go. Any other questions?
So Ted asked, where do you go to learn advanced compositing techniques? Well, I do teach that if you're interested.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm teaching it online right now because we're not going anywhere. So reach out to me if you're interested. I do a lot of one-on-ones. I find that sometimes this stuff is hard to teach in a group setting because you have people of too many levels. You have people that just bought Photoshop for the first time because they've been using Elements, and they're like, okay, time to bite the bullet. And then you've got people that have been doing composite work for 10 years and they're bored out of their mind in your class, and I feel bad for that. So depending on your skill set, you know, sometimes the one-on-one stuff is easier for me to help you along the way. And I kind of think people learn faster that way too.
Yeah, I do too, because you can address exactly what their needs are versus like.
Well, the other thing is when you get into this kind of work, you have a lot of different types of art that people are into. Like, you know, some people are really into like Star Wars type stuff, and some people are really into aliens, and some, like you know, some people are, some people are really into fluffy, you know, fluffy soft animals. Some people are into fairy tales. Some people are into really dark, depressing type art. So when you try to teach something in a class setting with multiple people, it's only going to really appeal to a small percentage of the class. So, you know, if you're serious about learning, I like doing the one-on-ones when people have time.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent, Judy. That was really, really interesting. Thank you. Any last words for us before we take off? We're just about out of time.
I just want to say thank you. And on behalf of MPPA, I'm looking forward to having you in November with us.
Yay!
Yay. Woo.
I'll be sharing.
I still want a lobster pin, Sandra.
I know. That's at convention. We got to do a convention for you for that. Thank you. It was really good. It was fun.
Very good. Nice job. Yay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Judy.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody's unmuted, so you can all say thank you. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's
Thanks,
seven-
Thank
Judy.
you, buddy Botch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob.
Edinburgh.
good night,
Send that.
boy.
Yeti.
All right. See you
Hi.
later.
Thank you so much. It was very inspiring.
Oh, you're
was.
welcome.
I still say it might take a bottle of wine, though.
There's no-
Actually,
a
that's
lot
not
of imagination.
necessarily, listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing. When I'm teaching people to paint and their paint strokes are very stiff, I literally do tell them, hey, maybe you should have a couple drinks and then start painting again and see if you can loosen up a little bit.
I'm a non-drinker, but it might sound like it would spark my mind. A lot
Shots
of
for everybody.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.